Hey, welcome back to the channel. Had a viewer ask me a question to do a video on how to save money on eBay. So I've talked about that. Whoops, lost my. There we go. I've talked about that in a few videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot a video, do some shopping here on eBay, and show you some tips on how I save money on eBay. So check out this video if you'd like to save a little bit of money. All right, welcome back to the Fortified Castle. Hi, all my viewers. Got Christmas coming up. All kinds of holidays. I wish you a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And thank you for all the support. So kind of an interesting video today. And I just want to say there's no magic button for saving money. We live in a McDonald's society where we just want everything now, and we want it simple, and we want to hit one button and have it all taken care of. But when it comes down to knives, that's not really possible, right? So there's no easy way to do this, and you just have to put in the work. And so what I mean by that, you're not going to know what a good deal is unless you get online, and you're online fairly regularly. So anytime you get online, like we're getting online here, this is just a snapshot in time of what some knife prices are. Look up here, there's an easy open pound knife, pretty nice looking knife, by the way, for $9.99. That's a great deal on this knife, but there's 6 days left. And usually what happens, like most people, serious collectors aren't even going to get involved in bidding. Why waste the time on bidding on this knife when you still got 6 days left? So until time winds down, you're just not going to see a lot of movement in that price. But what this does, by getting on and checking the pricing on these knives, and all I've done here is I punched in, let's go back up to the top. I punched in vintage pocket knives. Whoop. So let me go back up to the top there. Results for vintage pocket knives. So that's all I've done, and it kicks up like everything that's under that listing. And then there's multiple ways you can look at this. And so down here you have related different searches that you can do across here to find these. Maybe you're interested in a vintage case knife, so you just put it in vintage case knife. Whatever the situation might be. And you need to go in here. I'm usually on this every day. I look at this, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's one of the ways that I save money on buying knives off eBay. But this is a really good example. So this knife right here, if we look at it, what I would do on this knife, if I'm interested in a knife, is I'll just go up here and I'll like it. Okay. So when you like it, that'll save it for you. Okay, it's not working. Okay, so it wants me to sign in. So I'm not signed in here to my eBay account. So if you're signed into an eBay account and you like it, it'll save it under a search for you. It's easy for you to find and look at, and you could just monitor this over the next 6 days. So that's one of the ways that I save money right there, is just by liking the clicking on the like button. Oftentimes when you click on that like button, uh, a seller will come back to you with an offer that's 10 or 20% lower, sometimes more, on a knife. I've seen almost 50% off. A guy come back and offer me 50% off on a knife. So you can save substantial amounts by just clicking on the like button, rather than not, keeping track of these things. So it's very easy. You want to set up an eBay account. That's your first step. Second step is, as you search, like these things. It also makes it easier to find, because you can go back and all of these things that you like go into a list called a watch list. And so you can go back and you can look them up very, very easily. But looking through these gives you an idea of what knives are going for. And you can see they're in different conditions. Right now we're looking at supposedly old knives on the vintage search. So all these are going to be, old knives. Another way to save money is looking at these knives for repair. So one of the things I found is sometimes these knives will be listed for very minor issues. And so the guy just puts for repair on it because he doesn't want to get jammed by somebody buying it and returning it to him because it's broken. So it may have just a little tiny crack on the scales on this knife here. Let's look at it real quick. So it looks pretty good. I'm not really sure why, it's not obvious looking at it, why it's for repair. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, you can go through here, and I really don't see why that thing is being listed as for repair. Maybe, it doesn't open and close properly. Let's go down here and look at it real quick. Okay, so yeah, if you look here under the description, he's telling you that both blades open and close with snap, but they have play on them when you open and close them. So if you know knives, a little bit of blade play is not a huge issue. Usually, it's very easy to fix that by crimping the knife a little bit right there. So just you can tap on that pin right there and tighten up the knife. But this looks like a fantastic knife. I mean, look at that. You have genuine bone. Yeah, you have a genuine bone knife here. It's a little pen knife, but he's asking $325. There's 3 bids on this, and it ends in 5 days. So yeah, I would be interested in this right here. You could save a lot of money by buying a knife like this, and I do that often. So I'll buy a knife that has a minor problem. This knife, as you can see, it has good blade geometry. The bone on this knife is in good shape. Overall, he's telling you it has good walk and talk. It snaps when it opens and closes, and the blades just wobble a little bit. So they just need to be tightened up. But you may, if you're not buying this knife to use it, you wouldn't even have to do that. So this would just be a good knife to have in a collection. Say you're collecting Cutmaster knives, or you're a bone collector, you like to collect these bones. That's a beautiful bone there. But I can tell you, finding Cutmasters with bone scales on them is kind of difficult. And so, yeah, that's a pretty good little knife we just found there for $325. Now you got 5 days, so we're just going to go up here and click on that and save it to our wish list, and we'll come back in 5 days and see what we can, if we can get that. So already that's one of the tricks right there is buying the knife nobody wants, right? And maybe you're that guy. Maybe you want a perfect knife. That's fine. But if you want to save a little money and you don't mind doing a little bit of work, that's one way to do it, is look for these deals I mean, a lot of times we think of a knife that is um, broken, and we don't want to get it. And I'm that way. I don't like knives with broken blades or things like that. But this is a very simple fix. And also tiny cracks in the bone, that doesn't bother me either. And so you can see here, this is a pretty nice, this is a 75, a large case knife, old one, 65 to 69 in red bone, going for 1050. Really good blade geometry. Now my guess is this knife is gonna, over the next 5 days, it's gonna increase quite a bit in value. Um, you would, this isn't a perfect knife, and so I wouldn't pay $100 for this knife, because you can see that the blade is kind of gird up. And so, I'm not paying $100 for a knife unless it's in pretty good shape. And this knife is in good shape, and that's about it. That's without even looking at the condition. Does it have a lazy blade? Do they all snap? We don't know because we haven't looked at the description. I'm just showing you that this is a pretty nice, it looks like a pretty nice knife. And that would be one that I'd want to look at. But doing this every day gives you a base, and that's what you really need when you start out in knife collecting. You need to understand, what's the average price that these knives go for. So that's the only way you're going to know whether you're spending too much on a knife or not, is by actually getting in the game and playing the game every day until you get that knowledge of what to expect for pricing on knives. Another way that you can save money is simply by not paying shipping. So if you go up here and you look right there, you see that there's a shipping charge. And so when you do a search, you can go up here. Yeah, let me see. There is a shipping and pickup. And so you can go on there and you can click on free shipping, and you notice all of a sudden, we get different knives. So let's look down at that, right? So now you're buying knives and you have free shipping. And if you can have free shipping on a knife, you're already saving. I mean, the shipping charge, if you buy a knife for, let's say $50, and you're paying a $5 shipping charge, that's like a 10% fee added to the knife. And so by getting free shipping, you're buying, you're saving 10% right off the bat. And it could be more. These shipping fees, sometimes guys want to send priority and will only send that. And so the fee can be quite a bit more on a knife. And that's another thing. You may, like, I don't care when I get that knife. And so I never ask for priority shipping, overnight shipping. Just send it the cheapest way to me. I'd rather save the money. And here's a pretty nice knife, it looks like, right there for $55. Let's look at that. This is an older knife, I can tell you right now, probably pre-1950. You have what looks like pretty good blade geometry. This blade may be a little worn here. Let's see, get a better picture. Okay. So yeah, it's not bad blade geometry there. There's a little bit of wear. You can see it right there. Overall in good shape. This is genuine bone. I can tell just by looking at it, and by the shield, I know this is an older knife. And I'd say $55 is a good price for this. So this is a large Congress knife right here. So that's another thing about knives, is generally you're going to pay more for a bigger knife. You're going to pay more for a knife that has more blades. And so, here you have a really nice vintage knife, probably at least the 60s or 50s, could be earlier, and $55 flat out. So I think this is actually a pretty good deal. And when you get this knife, I would take these blades here, and I would just clean them up. I'd mirror polish them. You can see there's some pitting in these blades, but you can make this knife look really, really nice for $55. And so again, if you're willing to put a little bit of work into the knife, you can get a pretty good knife at a pretty reasonable price. I think that's a pretty good price, not knowing anything else about this knife. So yeah, free shipping, that's what we were talking about. Let's go, and I'm going to show you another easy way to save money on knives. Okay, so what I do every day is I'll punch in that vintage knife, vintage pocket knife, search up here. I do that every day, and then I go over to this section right here. It's a sorting function. You click on that, and you can see it says time ending soonest, newly listed. You can list these things by price from highest to lowest or lowest to high. And what I do is I click on ending soonest. Okay, so what that's going to give you is knives that are about to expire at the auction. This knife you see here, it has an hour and 19 minutes left. Okay, so how you save money is, this is, like, I'm not interested in this knife. Let's go down to another one. But what you're doing is you're picking up knives really basically that no one wants to buy, or they think it's too much. Here's a Wingen Othello knife. So Wingen is a German producer that made very fine knives. So I can tell you right now, I know this brand, and it's a really nice knife, right? He just made a really good knife. And so $74, depending on the size of this knife, it looks like it's a full-size buck type knife. $74 would be a good price. Probably $97 would be a good price. And so if you don't want to wait and take your chances, you could pay $97 now, and it's free shipping. Or you could just type in a $74.37 bid. If nobody else bids on it, it's yours. And so that's how I save money. And basically what I'm doing is picking up knives that nobody else was interested in for one reason or another. I find a lot of good knives this way. So here's a Camillus rope knife. This is a easy open knife. I'm actually looking for one of these knives, as a matter of fact. So this is not your normal rope knife. This is a knife that's smaller. It's about 3.5 inches, but it has a rope blade on it. And these were issued in World War I, not World War II. So the guy's wrong up here. But $40 is an excellent price for that knife, and nobody's bidding on it. So looks like there's a crack here on the bolster. Not sure whether that's a crack or not. Overall, the knife looks like it's in pretty good shape. I also don't think that's this is not the original bail on this knife either. But let's see if we look at it here. Yeah. So this is a pretty rare little knife that we just happened upon by clicking on right here. And I'd pay $40 for that knife all day long. It's worth more. But that's how you find these things. And it looks like nobody's interested in it. You see over here, you got 0 bids. And so you got 2 hours and 55 minutes. You know, I would look at the time now and come back in 2 hours and 40 minutes and start trying to buy this knife. Now, other people may be doing that, but you can see right here. Let me see if I could show you. So up here is the like button, and down here it would tell you how many people have liked this. And it doesn't say that anybody is watching this at all, but there may be a bunch of people watching it, just hoping that it could they could place a bid of $40 and get this knife for $40. Okay. But so that's the strategy here, is just pick up knives that nobody else likes. And man, I'm interested in this knife. So I'm not in my account here. I can't like it, but I'm gonna have to go back in and check this out a little closer. This is a really scarce knife. So anyhow, that's how you save a little bit of money. It's not always true. You see here's a Case Stockman for 65. Let's see what else is going on there. There's a Puma for 52. This has been bid up, so there's 12 bids. It's an auction, and you're going to have to fight for this knife, and this price could go up substantially. But again, on these knives, these are very popular. They're well-made knives, and if you could get one for under $100, I think you'd be doing well. And so as you get closer, I would just bet $100. And the way that's going to work is, say you got a minute left and you put in a bid for $100 and the bid price is 65. Everybody else is going to be putting their last bid in, and that price will click up. But as long as you don't go over $100, the knife will end up yours. If you bid 100 and the next guy bids 75, you're going to get that knife for $76. That's how it works, and that's how you save money on these last minute bids right here. But overall, I think, I don't usually like to get caught up in these bidding wars, because you just tend to pay more money than you were looking to pay. So it's not often that I'm actually biting out and bidding on a knife. But I look more for knives like these. This guy, $32 for a Girl Scout knife, no bids, and you got 5 hours to go. But that's how the theory works. You go in and click on ending soonest, and it's going to show you all the knives that nobody seems to be interested in. A lot of times you can save a lot of money doing that. Okay, so another way that I save money is you can see this is on all. You can click only on auctions, and that pulls up everything that's being auctioned. This one is buy it now, but there's more of these available. If you go over, it's in a different spot on and you can't see it. Okay, hold on. So there's different conditions. Here's all. These are auctions only. These are buy it now only. That's the guy puts a price on there, and you can buy it at that price. What I like to do is I like to look for make an offer. And so if you look over on the side here, there are different conditions, that you can narrow your search by. Here's 4 blades, so you can only look at knives with 4 blades, or any number, a bunch of searches, by the type of handle material, blah, blah, blah. And what I want to do is I want to get down here to buying format. And so that's those buttons up at the top. And you can see right here, you probably can't see it because you can't see the screen, but it says buy it now. These are all listings, auction, buy it now. And this says accept offer. So I'm going to click on that. So this is a guy selling it now for $69.99. There's 2 hours left, or best offer. Now, a lot of guys who are selling a knife or best offer are looking to make more money. So he's hoping that you'll want to just pay $80 and get that knife so nobody else gets it. That's what he's hoping for. And if you click on this knife, and you go over here. I cut my camera off. So if you go over there, you can see the tab make an offer, right? And so you click on that tab and say, hey, I'll give you $40 for that knife. Okay. And so what the guy will do is he'll either accept that offer or not. And that's one way you can save a lot of money on these knives. Frequently, these buy it now listings will be on here 3 to 6 months. And so this guy may just be willing to take a lot less for this knife because nobody's bought it in 6 months. You may be able to get it for 40. He may come back with an offer of $55, in which case, he's selling it for $69.99 and you pay $55 if you want to accept that offer, and you've saved $14 on the knife. Also, if he says, how about $55, you can make a counter offer and say, well, I'll pay $51. That's the max I'm going to go. He'll either take that or not. Either way, you're saving a lot of money by doing that, by making an offer on a knife. And that's called bartering. And I've saved tremendous amounts of money on knives putting in these offers all the time. Here's some ZTs, which this is a really good price on this ZT right now. So I'd pay $68 for that ZT any day of the week. Titanium frame lock. I don't know what the metal is, but anyhow, you could put in an offer to this guy for less, and you might go just 10% less if you felt like, I think that's a really good price on that knife. I doubt he's going to accept a lower offer on it, but he might. Like I said, people, they decide, hey, I need money for Christmas, and I'll take an offer. And even knives like this is an old imperial knife. They're not worth a whole lot. $16.99. This is a knife I can guarantee you really, it's not going to sell. And so you could put a lower offer in and he'll accept that offer. Not only that, you get free shipping. So you can save a lot of money, using this make an offer feature on a knife. The thing about make an offer is it's immediate. So when you make an offer, if he accepts it, you're locked in and you have to buy the knife. So make sure that you really want this knife before you make an offer on it. But that's another way to save a lot of money on a knife. And these are all techniques that I use. And I should not have gone on to do this video because now I'm thinking about buying that ZT knife too. Oh my gosh. That's a good deal on that ZT. Let's go look at that. All right, so this is a good point. I checked this out. These are not genuine ZT knives. ZT has a logo they put on here. This has no logo. This says this knife is made in Taiwan, so it's a knockoff. ZT makes their knives in the United States. And yeah, so I don't want to pay $68 for that knife. So that's another thing. You really got to look at some of these listings and make sure you don't get burned on this stuff. All right, so just staying in the game allows you to save money because you get a good feel for what prices are over time. Before we close out, I want to show you an example of that on a search that I did here. So I'm going to look up cattle knives. Do a search on cattle knives here. Beep, 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 beep. Vintage. Misspelled that. It's hard for me to see. Vintage. Vintage cattle knife. Search. and it didn't give me the wrong one. So let's try it again. Whew, took me a while to get that search in there. So this is a search for vintage cattle knives. It's going to pull up knives that aren't necessarily a cattle knife. That's a Stockman. That's different. This is a cattle knife right here. And you can see once $19. It's a Hibbard, Bartlett, and Spencer cattle knife. And so as we go down here, you get different listings. And this is not pulling up what I want. All right, this took me a minute to get to where I wanted to. So here you can see up at the top, you got a Hibbard, Spencer, and Bartlett cattle knife. That's the old one, $116. Little overpriced for that. You go down, you see there's one for $39.99. There's one for $105, New York Knife Company. Looks like a pretty nice knife. There's a vintage Utica for $49.99. Really nice looking knife, and an Imperial for $29. And so both of these are buy it now or best offer. And so the Utica is a better knife than the Imperial cattle knife, but what I'm pointing out to you is different pricing for the same kind of knife. And so by doing a search just for a specific pattern of knife that you're interested in, will also give you a good base of the different pricings that you can see on the knife, which allows you to save money, because you see knives here like this one is $125, but this one is $29. Now I can tell you this is a much more collectible knife. It's a older knife than this knife right here. And it's just a lot better knife. And so there's a difference between what you're paying for there. I still wouldn't pay $125 for this knife. It's got a broken blade here, at least one, and it's just not worth $125, with a broken blade on it. The guy's asking near mint prices on it. But here you see one for $119. This knife dates to the 1940s. It's another Hibbard, Spencer, and Bartlett knife. Probably made by Schrade. Probably a keen cutter knife there. But the point is as you go down through here, you see cattle knives a lot cheaper, and there's a wide range of different prices on these cattle knives. And so just doing a search and finding one with a reasonable price. Here's one. This is a hammer brand. Again, this is an Imperial branding. This is an inexpensive knife, and it's absolutely fantastic price. So this knife shouldn't go for any more than $20, $25. And the guy's trying to sell it for $115. And that's why you want to look at these things and not buy the first one that you see. You might even have to look up some information, get some information on the knife, and figure out whether you want to pay that price for the knife or not, whether it's worth paying that price. So that's how a specific search can help save you money on these knives. Also, as you can see, there's a wide variation. Here's a Camilla's camp knife. This is a much better knife than this knife right here. Whoops. And there's a big difference in the price of it. This is way overpriced right here. $185 for a Utica knife. Way, way, way overpriced. And you can just find better examples here, you know, of cattle knives for a lot less money. They're still good. You know, this isn't too far off the mark for LFC. This is a pre-1928 knife. Looks like you may have a broken blade there. You know, some issues, but, you know, half the price of that other inexpensive knife that it was being sold for. And again, you could find some really good ones here for less. This is a fantastic knife. So here's this is a Schrade Walden knife. These are very scarce knives. The 856 pattern is a Schrade Walden cattle knife. These are really nice knives. It's a good size knife, and he's selling it for 30 bucks. So without knowing anything else, that's a good knife, and I'd rather have that knife right there for 30 bucks than that Imperial for 115 any day of the week, right? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up and let you go. I gave you some good you know, tips there on how to save money on eBay. You know, like them first. Do searches on with the parameters of ending soonest. That lets you know knives that nobody else is really interested in. Maybe you will be. Also, you know, do a search for knives make an offer, and so you can save money by making an offer on knives. And also, you know, just choose knives that you don't have to pay shipping on. So that's a good way to save money. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks you all for supporting the channel.